To downtown Miami on a Friday night, it would be bustling.
Oh, yes.
But tonight, it's really a ghost town.
That's because it's an evacuation zone. Local 10's Will Manso is outside the AAA with more for us tonight.
Here tonight in downtown Miami, the one thing we are recognizing that is much different than when we were here about 12 hours ago is the amount of wind that there is. Now, one thing that hasn't changed is the fact that there's no one here. Take a look at this. This is downtown Miami, leading down Biscayne Boulevard, right near the American Airlines Arena, right by the Freedom Tower into Bayside. And well, you see one car driving by there. That's about all you see, maybe one car per minute coming through here. And it's been like that all day long. Where we're standing right now in front of the American Airlines Arena is an evacuation area. It is part of Zone B, but that doesn't mean that everyone is evacuated. We see a lot of lights on in buildings, and in this building in particular here, we saw some people earlier coming out walking their dogs, and we were told by a manager in the building that there are about 40 residents that decided to stay. Now, I mentioned that wind and why it's so significant. We've heard Max and Betty and Arlo, meteorologists, talk about storm surge. And it's a big reason why this area is an evacuation zone. Right over there, next to the arena, if anyone who's been to the arena or driven by downtown knows very well, is Biscayne Bay leading into the Miami Children's Museum. A beautiful view, but the water is just steps away. They anticipate in this area a pretty strong storm surge, depending, of course, of how strong the winds are for Irma tomorrow. And how about this? Talk about winds. It's not that strong of a wind right now, but look at this tree right here. Look at the angle of this tree. I'm going to go on a limb and say that when the storm picks up tomorrow, whatever winds we do get here in this area, that this tree isn't going to make it. I mean, look at this, the bend on this tree with the wind right now, and Irma is still far away. So as we can anticipate tomorrow, the situation is, anyone who's been around here over to the Perez Art Museum, over by the Frost, the Arts Center, there are some beautiful trees lining this area, many of them new in just the last few years. It's going to be interesting and unfortunately scary to see how those trees hold up and if they do snap off. Another thing we see a lot of, and it's hard to see now at night, but if you just look at the Freedom Tower, in the distance is the crane. There are about 20 cranes in the downtown Brickell, Miami area that are still up because of new construction. We know there's so many high-rises. Simply put, the city of Miami said they just couldn't get down in time, so they told residents of buildings next to buildings with cranes or construction sites with cranes that they should not stay. And for the most part, we have seen most of those buildings empty tonight, so that's a good sign. But again, the wind picking up here, very quiet as it's been all day long. This particular area, an evacuation zone, Zone B. We'll be here in this area tomorrow providing live reports throughout the day. We've got a room in one of these buildings in here that should keep us secure to give you an up-close look exactly what happens depending on how strong the wind and how strong Irma is when it arrives in South Florida.